This is CBJ in 30, presented by Telhio Credit Union. Find out more and open an account online at telhio.org. Now, here's your host, Bob McElligott.
Welcome to CBJ in 30, presented by Telhio Credit Union. I'm Bob McElligott. The Blue Jackets coming off a huge win last night. They shut out the New York Islanders by the score of 4-0. That comes on the heels of a 5-0 shutout to the Vancouver Canucks on Sunday. Sergei Bobrovsky has back-to-back shutouts for the second time this season. He has 8 shutouts on the year, and that ties him for the league lead with Marc-Andre Fleury. Who'da thunk it? Seriously, let's start right there with Sergei Bobrovsky, can we? There were points in this season where Sergei Bobrovsky looked like anybody except Sergei Bobrovsky. Seriously, there were big-time struggles for him at different parts of this season. In fact, there were parts of the season where he lost the net to Jonas Korpisalo, and he had to sit back and wait his turn. But here at the end of the year, when the Blue Jackets need him the most, he is playing his best. He has looked completely calm. He has looked settled in the crease. His reactions are sharp. His vision is dead on. He is seeing the puck from everywhere, and even the ones he's not seeing in the last 2 games are either hitting him or they're missing the net. Or they are being blocked in front of him by his teammates, which was absolutely huge last night, the way that they played team defense in front of him. But 0 goals allowed for a second straight game, and it was against a team that had blanked the Blue Jackets the 2 previous times that they had met. It was against a team the Blue Jackets had to beat last night. They had to set up the showdown tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens, and they did all of that. They went through the checklist. Check, did it. Check, did it. Check, did it. Done. And now, day off today in preparation for, without a doubt, the biggest game of the year tomorrow. Why is it the biggest game of the year? It's a playoff game. Win that game, you more than likely are going to get in. Lose that game, and your troubles just increased. Your path just got tougher. Not that you still can't get there, but it got tougher. So the Blue Jackets need to get a win tomorrow night. It's unfortunate that you can't be happy with that win and just, you can enjoy it for a day, but you know that tomorrow, if you lose, that the momentum changes, that the mood changes, everything changes. Everything changes. So enjoy it today. Revel in a shutout over the New York Islanders. The Blue Jackets gave the Islanders a taste of their own medicine. Again, stingy defense as a team, good goaltending, and the Islanders were chasing the game the entire way. And remember, early in the game, the Blue Jackets were not on top of their game. They were struggling to get going, and that would be expected on the first day back from a West Coast trip. Remember, the team flew all day on Monday. We left Vancouver at 10 o'clock in the morning, which was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We got back into Columbus at 5:30 in the afternoon. You have to clear customs. You go home. You're trying to unwind from a 9-day trip. And all of a sudden, it's time to go right back to work and play a game. Not just go back and practice, but to play a game. No rest for the weary. So it was no surprise that the Blue Jackets were slow in starting the game last night. But Sergei Bobrovsky was not. And because he was not slow in starting, that gave the Blue Jackets a chance to hang in there when the Islanders had some of their better chances early in the game. Then the Blue Jackets get a power play. It was the only power play of the night. It was a gift power play, if you will, because the call was too many men on the ice. So the Islanders made a mistake, and they gave it right to the Blue Jackets. And as we talked about back after the Calgary game, remember the Calgary game? It was a 3-2 game, and the Blue Jackets got a power play in the third period, and they did nothing with it. And you remember the next day I said, the good teams, when you get that kind of an opportunity, you pounce on it. You capitalize on it. You make good on it right then, right there. And that's the difference between a team that is good and a team that is hoping to be good. Well, they didn't capitalize in Calgary, but they sure did last night, and it didn't look like they were going to. As a matter of fact, the first power play unit looked, well, they didn't look very good. They didn't look very good at all. And then the second power play unit came out with under a minute left. And late in the power play, Ryan Dzingel was able to get a goal, and that changed everything. It really did. It changed everything. The Blue Jackets were being outshot at that point, 4-2, but they had a 1-0 lead on the board. And then they could just go to work. Then they could just play good, solid team defense. That was playoff hockey last night. It was ugly playoff hockey, but you know what? In the playoffs, you win however you can, and that's what the Blue Jackets did. But I was so impressed with the way that they just collapsed in front of the goaltender. They got their sticks in passing lanes. I mean, they broke up passes by the Islanders all night. They did little things, like if a guy was coming into the zone on the rush, the defenseman, or sometimes the forward, whoever was back on the play, was able to just get enough of an angle on that player carrying the puck where there was no shot, there was no centering attempt. They forced the player wide and behind the net. Those are such big plays because if you're not there in that position and you let that guy either get to the inside or make a pass to the inside, you're asking for big trouble. I thought they were almost perfect in their angles last night. Yeah, there was a breakdown here and there, no question, but Sergei bailed them out every time there was. But just the little things. Cross-ice pass, you get your stick out there, you deflect it. Either you deflect it out of play or you deflect it away from the man it was intended for. It doesn't matter. You break it up. You take away the flow. They did that last night. They also, another thing I thought they really did well is they got the puck out of their zone. They didn't struggle in get it to the blue line and not outside the blue line. There were a couple of times they got hemmed in, I think, early in the first period, but again, they persevered last night. I was really impressed, and I don't impress easily, but I was really impressed with the way they played last night. David Savard, I thought, was a beast in last night's game, just blocking shots, doing those little things, like I said, with the angling of the other players, all that stuff. I thought he was really good. And I'll tell you who else I thought was really good, and not just because he had 5 shot attempts on net last night, is his defensive partner, Marcus Nudavara. And in fact, I will tell you this. I think since Nudavara missed the game in Calgary, I think he's been really good in the last 3. I thought he was good in the Edmonton game when everybody stunk. And I thought he was good in Vancouver. I thought he was good again last night. He's back to making good decisions, quick reads, passes that are on target. There was one point last night where Matt Duchene tried to do something a little bit too much in the defensive zone. He made a pass. The Islanders picked it off, and Marcus Nudavara was there. And I think he deflected the puck out of play. And Duchene came over right away with the fist bump as if to say, thanks, dude. I know I screwed that up. Because Duchene's trying to make a fancy, blind, backhanded pass, and he gave it away. But Nudavara was there, and he saved the day, and Matt Duchene appreciated it. So I think that defensive pairing last night was good. I thought, Seth Jones was back to being really good. I thought Werenski was good, but unfortunately, he suffered some kind of an injury in the third period. He didn't play the second half of the third period. That is of concern because nobody knows what the state of the injury is. Nobody knows if he's going to be able to play tomorrow, and that would be a huge loss. A huge loss. Look, I have been critical of Zach Werenski this year, rightfully so. The minute that I got really critical of him, he came out of his shell and started to be his old self, so I should have done it in January. I'll give you that. But even though it's been a trying year for him at certain times and in certain aspects of his play, Zach Werenski is one of the top defensemen on this team. And that's both defensively and offensively too. Both. He can do it all. And if you have to play without him, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot, especially against a fast team in the Montreal Canadiens. But that's a worry for tomorrow, not for today. But just solid, good, quality team play, balanced play last night. The first line comes back to life. Panarin scores a breakaway goal. He's going down the ice. It's a 1-0 game, third period. Atkinson springs him, and he's coming down the ice. And I'm calling the play, and all I could think of is how many times he's had this opportunity this year and hasn't capitalized on it during regulation of a game, not counting a shootout. And in the back of my mind, I'm saying, if he does not score this, that's, then the Islanders are going to get momentum. But I didn't have to worry about that because he did score it. Nice shot, glove side, went right under the glove, might have caught the bottom of the glove before it went into the net. And it was huge. It was 2-0. I mean, 1-0 is like you're sitting there on pins and needles. 2-0, you can finally breathe. And then they get up 3-0 on a great play, not by Oliver Bjorkstrand, the shooter. It was a great shot, don't get me wrong. But the play was Alexander Wenberg. Wenberg anticipating where and how the Islanders were going to clear the zone, got to the boards, put himself up against the glass. The puck goes off of him. Eventually it comes to the middle of the ice. Bjorkstrand is there, and he buries it, and now you really feel good about the game because now the Islanders are looking at, 6 minutes to score 3 goals? Almost impossible, right? We've been there, seen it, done that. Impossible. So that play was huge from Alexander Wenberg, and he and Bjorkstrand have all of a sudden found a home playing alongside of Boone Jenner. Jenner, Foligno, Anderson, that was the line for a long time this year. But now Wenberg and Bjorkstrand have gotten there, and I think they are finding a comfort zone, and I think especially Wenberg and Bjorkstrand are finding it. Jenner's going to be Jenner. He's just going to go, boom, right to the net. He's going to bang. He's going to crash. He's going to take guys out of your way. You guys are the skilled guys. I'm going to open it up for you. You make something happen. And they did. And I really like what they've been doing. And then you have the fourth line of Dubinsky, Nash, and Foligno. Fourth line, right? Fourth line. Hear that. Think about that. But they got their ice time last night. And they got it because they're defensively responsible. Dubinsky was winning faceoffs like a beast last night, quite frankly. And, there wasn't any penalty kill because the Islanders were never on the power play. They would get time when it comes to that, too, but it didn't occur. But they got their minutes. They earned their minutes last night. Everybody earned what they got last night. And Cam Atkinson's empty net goal right at the end, his 39th goal of the year, I think that could be huge. Now, why do I say that? I'll tell you exactly why. Because Cam Atkinson is a streaky, streaky player. Panarin hadn't had a goal in the month of March. And Atkinson hadn't had a goal since the last time the team played Pittsburgh. He's sitting on 38 forever. If you're Cam Atkinson, aren't you saying, am I going to get to 40? Now, if you're Cam Atkinson, you're saying, I am going to get to 40. If you're on the outside, you're saying, is he going to get to 40? And it's not to be mean to him. It's that it has been so long. This is a guy that he's streaky. Remember when he was red hot and had the 13-game point streak earlier this year? And I said at that time, it's great that he's really hot. In the past, he's been able to go just as cold. And he's been cold. There's no question. But things like an empty net goal in the past, and when was it? Was it a year or two ago? He was trying to get to 30, and he was sitting in the same position. No goal, no goal, no goal, no goal. Then he hit an empty netter, and then he easily got past the mark. So that empty net goal last night for Cam Atkinson really could get him going. I'm telling you. And with Panarin playing again the way that he can play, I mean, he was all over it last night. He was making the little plays, defensive plays. He had the goal. That was bonus for him. He was back to being himself. Thank goodness. That's 2 games in a row that Panarin is back to being himself. And John Tortorella said it plainly at practice last Saturday in Vancouver. If that line is not going, and in particular if he's not going, this team has no chance. Well, they were going. And they've given the Blue Jackets a chance. A win tomorrow would put them into a playoff spot. Now, even though they didn't pick up points on Montreal last night, they did pick up points on the Carolina Hurricanes. And I'll tell you about that right after I tell you about Telhio Credit Union. Yes, at Telhio Credit Union, they've been putting people over profits and making sure that their members are taken care of since way back in 1934. Come on, think about that. Back right around the era of the Great Depression. And I say around that because I know the Great Depression was while World War II was going on. The war got the world out of the Depression. But I don't know exactly what years are considered. So 34, I don't know. I'm not sure. I could call my grandmother and ask her, but that would take so much time out of the show. But anyway, my whole point is it's been a long darn time that they've been around, and they've been taking care of members, and they've been providing services that allows you to make the most of your money. And those services are plainly listed on their website at telhio.org. Just go there. It'll tell you about everything they have, like a checking account. You think, I open a checking account. I'll just, take the money and ask them to open it, and that's it. Well, what kind of a checking account do you want? Well, what do you mean? Well, there are 3 different types with different features just for you. And that's just one example of the things that they have at Ohio Credit Union, the services they provide that can help you and your money. To find out more, go to that website, telhio.org. Check it out. There's a live chat button there. If you can't find something you're specifically looking for, you can chat right there online. You can also stop by any of their local offices. Ohio Credit Union is open to everyone in central and southwestern Ohio. They are federally insured by NCUA. Now, what else happened last night? The Blue Jackets were hoping to get some help from the Florida Panthers. There was no help forthcoming. Now, I read an article this morning. Florida was playing their 4th game in 6 days, and they were, okay, yeah, it happens to everybody. They just didn't help at all. They got blown out by Montreal. It was 5-0 after 2 periods. 6-1 was the final score. Montreal, easy win to stay 2 points ahead of the Blue Jackets. So no help from the Florida Panthers. The Washington Capitals, however, did provide some help. They scored 3 times in the 3rd period. They beat Carolina. 4-1 was the final in that game. So now the Blue Jackets edge up on the Carolina Hurricanes. Let me just go through the other scores from last night. Not that you care, but I'm on this page, and that's where I'm going to go. The Senators shut out the Sabres 4-0. It's an embarrassment for Buffalo. Speaking of embarrassments, how about this? The Oilers beat the Kings 8-4 last night. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a hat trick in the 1st period. The Anaheim Ducks able to hold off the Vancouver Canucks. 5-4 was the final in that game. The Arizona Coyotes shut out the Chicago Blackhawks when Nick Cousins scored at 5:40 of the 3rd period. 1-0 was the final. The Blackhawks, who were climbing their way back into the playoff picture, have now said, see ya. They're out. There's no way they're getting into the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now. Mr. Obvious, I know. I get it. Here are the standings. Eastern Conference Metropolitan Division. Washington, 98 points. So that loss by the Islanders last night was costly for them in 2 ways. They didn't keep pace with Washington, and they now lose the tiebreaker to Pittsburgh. So Washington's in first place with 98 points. Pittsburgh's in second place with 95 points. The Islanders are in third place with 95 points. Then you've got the 2 wild card spots. Well, I guess I'll give you the Atlantic. Tampa, 122 points. Boston, 101. Toronto, 96. All right? Those are the 3 teams in each division locked in as of now. Wild card spots. Carolina, 91 points. Montreal has 90 points, and the Blue Jackets have 88 points. So the Blue Jackets are closing in on both Montreal. They can get ahead of them with a win tomorrow night. But they are also closing in on the Carolina Hurricanes, who have another tough game with Washington coming up. Now, over in the West, Winnipeg has a 2-point lead in the Central Division, 94-92 over Nashville. There's St. Louis. They are not only hanging around, they're making a push. They've got 90 points. St. Louis is trying to get home ice in the first round. They can do that if they finish second. And they've got a legitimate shot. In the Pacific, Calgary, 6-point lead over San Jose, 101-95. Vegas with 90 points in third place. That looks to be pretty much locked in. I think that's how they're going to finish. San Jose will have to take on Vegas in the first round. Then you've got the 2 wildcard teams, Dallas with 84 points, Colorado with 81 points. Arizona, with their win last night, now has 81 points, but they lose out. Well, they played one more game than Colorado, so Colorado has a game in hand there. So that's why they stay in the wild card spot. And Minnesota has 79 points. They're there, but they have to jump over 2 teams to get there. So that's what the standings look like in the league as of today. The other games that will be played tonight, Toronto is in Philadelphia to face the Flyers. The Bruins are at home to take on the Rangers tonight. The Flames will play at home against the Dallas Stars. The Vegas Golden Knights are in Colorado. This is a big game for the Avalanche. The Avalanche at home tonight, needing to get a win against the Golden Knights to maintain that wild card spot and try to get into the playoffs and try to earn the right to play against the Calgary Flames in the first round. So very interesting stuff, and it usually is as we get down to the wire this time of the year in the NHL, no question about it. Well, this is only the first of two shows for me today. Later tonight, Jody Shelley and I will get together to bring you the Inside Edge presented by Kia. It can be heard on the flagship station of the Blue Jackets Radio Network, 97.1 The Fan in Columbus. You can also get it online through the Blue Jackets app. And by the way, people say to me sometimes, how do I get that? What do I have to do to get that? Listen, it's very simple. When you go on to the Blue Jackets app and you see it'll come up with the schedule at the top and the next game, and you start to scroll down, and it's got, like the news that's going on, the videos, it's got the leaders, and you keep on scrolling, and you get down to the schedule. You go past the schedule, roster, come down to audio, and where it says Listen Live, click right there, and you can hear the Inside Edge, 7 o'clock tonight, Wednesday, March 27th, 2019. You can hear it right there. You can also get it at bluejackets.com. It's very easy to do. One more thing before I end this show, and yeah, it ends a couple of minutes early, but I have another show to do tonight, and Jody and I will cover a lot for you there. Oh, and we'll also be joined by Josh Anderson. I should say that. That's like the premier feature of the show. Josh Anderson will join us and talk about the season that he is having. So make sure that you don't miss that when Jody Shelley and I talk to Josh Anderson tonight on the Inside Edge presented by Kia. But on a final note, before I wrap up this edition of CBJ and 30 presented by Ohio Credit Union, I would like to bring to your attention, if you didn't already know, that Bill Davich, who has been with the Blue Jackets since day one, he's been here for 20 years. He has filled numerous roles within the organization. He was the color commentator on radio for many years. Then when he moved over to TV, I came up and moved into his position in the radio booth originally. Bill has then, in the last couple of years, moved onto the Fox Sports Ohio desk for the pregame and postgame and intermissions on the TV broadcast. Well, Billy has announced that he is going to retire at the end of the season after 20 years with the Blue Jackets organization. And I got to tell you, Bill Davich is one of the guys that when I first came here, and this is before I got a job, when I came here a couple of times to fill in for George Matthews, when George had to miss some games, I worked with Bill on the radio. And when you come into a situation as a young guy who's going to the big leagues for the first time to do his first NHL game, you are very appreciative of a partner that you're working with that you don't know that well. You've talked to in the past, but you don't know them all that well, and you're hoping there's going to be cohesion there, and you're hoping there's going to be it's going to be easy. He's going to help you through it. You're hoping he's going to help you. And, Billy did that every time. Made me feel comfortable, made me feel as though nothing changed, that even though George wasn't there, everything was the same, and he just was a good person to come into this league with, to make you feel like, hey, kid, everything's all right. Just do what you do. And I really appreciate that, and I've always appreciated that about Bill Davich. And he has been one of the biggest cheerleaders for this organization for 20 years. It's going to be different not to have him around. It was different when he quit going on the road, and he wasn't around all the time, but you'd still see him at home. It is going to be different not having him around. He will be missed. But on the same token, he wants to enjoy his life and cut down on the workload, and I can totally understand that. I'm not at that point yet. I will be someday. I guess I will be someday. But I just wanted to say publicly thank you to Bill Davich for everything he's done for me in my time with the Blue Jackets organization, and that dates back to when I was still working in Syracuse when we were affiliated with the Blue Jackets right from the get-go. So thank you, Bill, for everything that you have done for me, and best of luck to you in your future endeavors, and enjoy your family and enjoy your life. That'll do it for today's edition of CBJ and 30 presented by Ohio Credit Union. Don't forget, again, tonight it's the Inside Edge presented by Kia, 7 o'clock, 97.1 The Fan in Columbus. You can also get it on the Blue Jackets app through the Listen Live feature and at bluejackets.com. Until then, I'm Bob McElligott saying so long.